Hey people. So we back with our 1 year reading Bible challenge, and we picking up January 16th. January 16th, Exodus chapter 5 verse 1 through Exodus chapter 7 verse, is that 13? It says 13. Okay. Um yeah. We're not reading from the King James Version. If you want to follow along, we're reading from the easy to read version in the Bible app. Now, our goal is to read this entire Bible by the end of the year, and we're not only trying to read, but we're trying to understand what we're reading. So, our recap for January 15th, we end up reading we started on the book of Exodus and we read chapters 1 through 4. In the recap for chapter 1 through 4, so we know when Joseph sent for his daddy and for all his brothers to come to Egypt, now they all stand in the country of Egypt. Now in Exodus chapter 1, Joseph, all his brothers, and everybody of his generation dies. So, but the Israelites, their descendants continue to multiply basically. So basically, the children that came from Joseph and his brothers are still in Egypt and they have children. The Joseph's children and his brother's children are basically probably the elders of Egypt at this point if they are still alive. So in Exodus chapter 1, the old Pharaoh is dead, so there's a new king of Pharaoh, a new king in Egypt that know nothing about the agreement with Joseph. This new king don't know nothing about the old program. So this new king peeps that the Israelites are a big group of people and he feels intimidated. He like they it's many of them, they are stronger than us, maybe they link with our ops basically and cause war XYZ. So this king comes up with this idea to just make it hard for the Israelites, so he turned them into slaves basically. Also in Exodus chapter 1, the king gives a order that the nurses be like, the more this Pharaoh calls the Israelites to work hard, the more babies they start creating, the more they started to procreate. So the king told the nurses that were helping the Israelite, which is Hebrew women, he said, look, all the baby girls, let them live, but the baby boys, kill them. The nurses believed in God. They did not want to follow through with that plan, so they did not kill the baby boys. Pharaoh ended up confronting them like, okay, I see all these baby boys around the land. What's going on? Why didn't you listen to the command that I gave you, basically? And the nurses responded like, look, these Hebrew Israelite women are strong. We don't even have to birth their children. They can give birth to the babies on their own. So yeah, that's how that went. So the Pharaoh ended up going to other Egyptians instead of the Hebrew women. He went to the other Egyptians and he like, look, if you see a little baby boy around here, drown them in the Nile River. We let the baby girls live, but the little boys, throw them into the river and let them drown, basically. Um, in Exodus chapter 2, it was this woman, Hebrew Israelite woman, who wanted to save her baby boy. She like, now my baby, you won't throw him in no Nile River. So she hid her baby for as long as she could. After so long of her not being able to hide him anymore, she ended up wrapping them up, putting them in a basket, and putting them on the river to where he just float on the river. So the Pharaoh, which is the king, his daughter ended up going outside to bathe, and she see this baby in this basket. So she grabs him And the little baby who was in the basket, his sister was keeping an eye on him. So his sister sees the Egyptian woman, which is the king's daughter, grab the baby out the basket, and she runs to her like, "Are you okay? You need help? You want me to go find a Hebrew woman to nurse this baby, basically to help?" And she like, "Cool." So the daughter ended up going to get her mama, basically this baby's biological mother. um like, "Look, take her to the king. Take her to the king's daughter." The king's daughter like, "Look, nurse this baby." After the baby ended up getting old enough, the baby ended up growing up in the king's house as an Egyptian. So he's really a Hebrew Israelite baby, but he grows up in the Egyptian house, basically. um this baby gets old. This baby name is Moses. After some time, Moses knows that he's a Hebrew Israelite, but he also know that he grew under like foster care with the Egyptians. Now, the Hebrew Israelites were slaves to the Egyptians. The Egyptians were mistreating them, beating them, having them, making them work hard, XYZ. Moses started to peep game. So he see this Egyptian man and he see this Egyptian man and this Hebrew Israelite man arguing one day. And the Egyptian man is mistreating the Hebrew. So Moses look around, make sure ain't nobody looking, and he go and kills the Egyptian, bury his body. The next day he see two Hebrew men, which is two of his biological people, his tribe. He see two of his people arguing, and he like, "What y'all fighting for? Like, what? Y'all neighbors, why y'all doing it like that?" And one of the men turned on him like, "Who made you rule over us? Like, you don't tell us what to do. Basically, is you gonna kill me like you killed that Egyptian man yesterday?" So word ended up getting around. Moses thought ain't nobody know that he killed the Egyptian. Word ended up getting around the king, the Pharaoh. Pharaoh ended up wanting to kill Moses. Moses flees. He run off. He run off to Midian. He bump into these little shepherd girls, and he helps them uh through an obstacle that they were facing. They go back and they tell their dad. They dad like, "Well, where the man at? Why you just leave him? Invite him in our house." The man invites Moses in his house, and he allowed Moses to marry one of his daughters. Um, yeah, so that's how they go. After some time, Moses ended up encountering God through a burning bush, and God gives him an assignment. Like, "Look, I see my people, my Israelite people, they are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I have a agreement with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I see my people suffering in Egypt, and I got this plan to free them from their pain and suffering. And Moses, you're going to be the person who I execute this plan through." Moses is not understanding why he's called. He's kind of like, I don't feel like I'm qualified. Find somebody else, all this type of stuff. So he have God gives Moses proof, like, "I'm gonna be with you. You cool?" Moses still ain't going. God like, "Cool. Just take your brother Aaron, and I'm gonna make you like God, and Aaron is gonna be the mediator. Basically, he gonna tell the people what to do." So that's what happens in Exodus. Moses end up getting with the plan. God also tell Moses like, "Look, Pharaoh, the king who tried to kill you, he dead. You can go on back to Egypt so we can follow through with this plan." Now we read in Exodus 5, Exodus chapter 5 through Exodus chapter 7. Exodus chapter 5. It say, "After Moses and Aaron talked to the people, they went to Pharaoh and said, 'The Lord, the God of Israel says, let my people go into the desert so that they can have a festival to honor me. But Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord? Why should I obey him? Why should I let Israel go? I don't even know who this Lord is, so I refuse to let Israel go." Then Aaron and Moses said, "The God of the Hebrews has talked with us, so we beg you to let us travel 3 days into the desert. There we'll offer a sacrifice to the Lord our God. If we don't do this, he might become angry and destroy us. He might make us die from sickness or war." Verse 4, but Pharaoh said to them, "Moses and Aaron, you are bothering the workers. Let them do their work. Go back to your own work. There are very many workers, and you are keeping them from doing their jobs." Verse 6, that same day, Pharaoh gave a command to the slave masters and the Hebrew foreman. Pause. A foreman is basically a worker who supervises other people. They supervise and direct. So it's basically a supervisor or manager. That's what a foreman is. So that same day, Pharaoh gave a command to the slave masters and the Hebrew foreman, basically the supervisors and managers. He said, "You have always given the people straw to use to make brick, but now tell them that they have to go and find their own straw to make brick, but they must still make the same number of bricks as they did before. They have gotten lazy. That is why they asking me to let them go. They don't have enough work to do. That is why they asked me to let them make sacrifices to their God. So make these people work harder. Keep them busy. Then they will not have enough time to listen to the lies of Moses." Pause. So right then and there, that's when I come up with my conclusion that busyness is not a flex. Busyness has literally been Satan's tactic from the beginning to keep us from relationship and worship with God. That's what it's given. So booked and busy, yeah, not a flex if it's keeping you away from relationship with God. Um, Verse 10, so the Egyptian slave masters and the Hebrew foremen went to the Israelites and said, "Pharaoh has decided that he will not give you straw for your bricks. You must go and get the straw for yourselves. So go and find straw, but you must still make as many bricks as you made before." So the people went everywhere in Egypt looking for straw. The slave masters forced the people to work even harder. They forced the people to make as many bricks as before. The Egyptian slave masters had chosen a Hebrew foreman and had made them responsible for the work the people did. The Egyptian slave masters beat these foremen and said to them, "Why aren't you making as many bricks as you made in the past? If you could do it then you can do it now." Then the Hebrew foreman went to Pharaoh. They complained and said, "We are your servants. So why are you treating us like this? You give us no straw, but you tell us to make as many bricks as before. And now while our masters are beating us, you people are wrong for doing this." Paul. So he like, you basically making our job impossible for us to do and then beating us because we can't accomplish what it is that you want us to accomplish. Can you say abusing authority? Um, Verse 17, Pharaoh answered, "You are lazy and you don't want to work. That is why you asked me to let you go, and that is why you want to leave here and make sacrifices to the Lord. Now go back to work. We will not give you any straw, and you must still make as many bricks as you did before." So this Pharaoh, like, "Look, I said what I said. Go handle your business. Just low down." Verse 19, the Hebrew foremen knew they were in trouble because the Pharaoh had told them, "You must still make as many bricks as you made before." So they go and try to plead their case, try to get out that jam. Pharaoh not going, like, no. Verse 20, when they were leaving the meeting with Pharaoh, they passed Moses and Aaron. Moses and Aaron were waiting for them. So they said to Moses and Aaron, "May the Lord judge and punish you for what you did. You made Pharaoh and his rulers hate us. You have given them an excuse to kill us." So now this Pharaoh have brainwashed them in such a way to where they turning against the ones that's there to help them, basically. Verse 22, then Moses prayed to the Lord and said, "Lord, why have you done this terrible, hold on. Yeah. Then Moses prayed to the Lord and said, "Lord, why have you done this terrible thing to your people? Why did you send me here? I went to Pharaoh and said what you told me to say, but since that time he has made the people suffer and you have done nothing to help them." So now the people is complaining to Moses, and Moses is going back to God, because he like, look, I'm only doing what God told me to do at this point. Like, so yeah, Moses like, look, God, you see what's going on? You sent me here to get these people, free these people. You sent me here on an assignment, but it don't look like you coming through. Like, you supposed to be coming through. So what we doing, basically? Chapter 6 in Exodus. Then the Lord said to Moses, now you will see what I do to Pharaoh. I use my great power against him, and he'll let my people go. He'll be so ready for them to leave that he'll force them to go. Then God said to Moses, I'm the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They called me God all powerful. They did not know my name, the Lord. I made an agreement with them. I promised to get them the land of Canaan. They lived in that land, but it was not their own. Now I've heard their painful cries. I know that they are slaves in Egypt, and I remember my agreement. So tell the Israelites that I say to them, I'm the Lord. I say you. You will no longer be slaves of the Egyptians. I use my great power to make you free, and I bring terrible punishment to the Egyptians. You will be my people, and I be your God. I am the Lord your God, and you will know that I made you free from Egypt. So basically, Moses is complaining to God, but God like, look, I'm doing this because human can't get you out this situation. Only me can get you out this situation. I'm allowing for this to be so intense so you can know it's only by my power that y'all about to get about this game. Basically. Um what we at? Verse 8, I made a promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I promised to give them a special land, so I'll lead you to that land. I'll give you that land. It'll be yours. I am the Lord. So Moses told this to the Israelites, but the people would not listen to him. They were working so hard that they were not patient with Moses. Then the Lord said to Moses, go tell Pharaoh that he must let the Israelites lead his land. But Moses answered, Lord, the Israelites refused to listen to me. So surely, what happened? Yeah. Then uh-oh. Then the Lord said to Moses, go tell Pharaoh that he must let the Israelites leave his land. But Moses answered, Lord, the Israelites refused to listen to me. So surely Pharaoh will refuse to listen. I'm a very bad speaker. So we don't know what Moses battling with at this point. For him to say he a very bad speaker, he probably stutter when he speak. He probably talk slow. Like Pharaoh probably looking at him like, "What is you talking about?" Like, no, not letting these people go. He like my people, your people, the Israelites. They not even listening to me, and you want the king of Egypt to listen to me? Yeah, he ain't trying to hear it, Lord. Um, Verse 14, these are the names of the leaders of the family of Israel. Israel's first son, Reuben, had 4 sons. They were Hanish, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. Simeon's sons were Jemiel, Jamin, I think, Ohad, Yakin, Zoar, and Shaul. Shaul was the son from the Canaanite woman. Levi lived 137 years. His sons were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Gershon had 2 sons, which was Limni and Shimei. Kohath lived 133 years. His sons were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Merari's sons were Mali and Mushai. All these families were from Israel's son, Levi. Amram lived 137 years. He married his father's sister, Jochebed. Amram and Jochebed gave birth to Aaron and Moses. So, pause. Jochebed was the woman when Pharaoh said, kill all the baby boys in Egypt. Jochebed was the woman like, you won't kill my son. So she the one that hid Moses, basically. She hid her baby until she couldn't hide him no more, and then she put him in a basket on the Nile River so he can just float. Verse 21, Isaac's sons were Korah, Nepheg, I believe, or Nepheg, and Zikri. Uziel's sons were Mishael, Elzaphan, and Sithri. Aaron married Elisheba was the daughter of Aminadab and the sister of Nahshon, I believe. Aaron and Elisheba gave birth to Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. The sons of Korah, that is, the ancestors of the Korahites, were Asir, Elkanah, and Abias. Abiasaph, I believe. Aaron's sons Eleazar married the daughter of Putiel. She gave birth to Phineas. All these people were from Israel's son Levi. Aaron and Moses were from this tribe. So, pause. Levi is, I want to say Jacob's. Hold on. Don't let me guess. Let me just go and find it because I don't want to guess. Let me go find Jacob children. Hold on. Pause. Where Jacob kids at? Okay, here we go. Okay, so Levi is Jacob's third born child. So he got Reuben, Simeon, Levi. So uh Levi is the third kid out of 13 plus kids that Jacob had. So Aaron and Moses come from the tribe of Levi. They come from that lineage of Levi. Um Jacob's son, basically. Verse 26, Aaron and Moses were from this tribe, and they are the men the Lord spoke to and said, lead my people out of Egypt in groups. Aaron and Moses are the men who talked to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and told him to let the Israelites leave. The Lord spoke to Moses again in the land of Egypt. He said, I'm the Lord. Tell the king of Egypt everything I tell you. But Moses, standing there before the Lord, said, you know me. I'm a very bad speaker. How will I make the king listen to me? So Moses like, look, Lord, you thinking a little bit too highly of me to be putting me up on this assignment. He Moses, obviously God sees something in Moses that Moses don't even see in himself, because he like, look, I don't feel like this man about to hear me, but God is clearly like, look what I said now. Chapter 7, this is our last chapter for today. It say, the Lord said to Moses, see how important I've made you? And speaking to Pharaoh, you will be like God, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. Pause. So God is basically telling Moses, like, look, I'm about to make you like me. You finna be like me, and your brother Aaron, he finna be like you, basically. Like, I'm making him be a prophet. He's gonna be the mediator to. So basically, so how God work with his prophets is his prophets are the mouthpiece of him. Prophets are the mouthpiece of God. Basically, they hear from God. They speak God's message to the people. Basically, they be the middleman. But God is like, plot twist, you gonna be like me, basically. And Aaron, your brother, is gonna be like who you supposed to be, since you giving me a hard time, basically. He gonna be like a prophet. Verse 2, you will tell Aaron everything that I command you, then he'll tell the king what I say, and Pharaoh let the Israelites lead this country. But I make Pharaoh stubborn so that he will not do what you tell him. Then I do many miracles in Egypt to prove who I am. But he still refused to listen. So then I punish Egypt very much, and I lead my army, my people, out of that land. I punish the people of Egypt, and they learn that I am the Lord. Then I lead my people out of their country. Pause. So, question is, if God already know what's about to happen, why he why are we going through all this riffraff for trying to get Moses to, he just said it very clearly, very plainly. God even had plan even for the wicked. So he's saying, look, I'm gonna make Pharaoh stubborn. He's already that, so I'm just gonna turn it up a notch. But I'm doing this just so that I can show my power, so that the Israelites will know that I'm God. The stuff that I'm about to do, no man can do that. Only I can do that. So I'm making him stubborn so he won't just make this no easy ride, so that I can prove who I am, basically. um Verse 6, Moses and Aaron did what the Lord told them. Moses was 80 years old at the time, and Aaron was 83. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, Pharaoh will ask you to prove your power. He'll ask you to do a miracle. Tell Aaron to throw his walking stick on the ground. While Pharaoh is watching, the stick will become a snake. So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and obeyed the Lord. Aaron threw his walking stick down. While Pharaoh and his officers watched, the stick became a snake. So Pharaoh called for his wise men and magicians. These men used their magic, and they were able to do the same thing as Aaron. They threw their walking stick on the ground, and their stick became snakes. But then Aaron's walking stick ate theirs. Pharaoh still refused to let the people go, just as the Lord had said. Pharaoh refused to listen to Moses and Aaron. So look, first miracle, first first proof to the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, that like, look, let these folk go now. Let them go head on. So Aaron and Moses, they do they little 1-2 that God tell them to do. Pharaoh like, I ain't trying to hear it. He called his magicians, his crew, and he like, look, do the same thing they doing. And they did. They were able to tap into that supernatural power. But Aaron's walking snake, basically Aaron's power overpowered theirs, if that makes sense. Um Verse 14, then the Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh is being stubborn. He refused to let the people go. In the morning, Pharaoh will go out to the river. Go to him by the edge of the Nile River. Take the walking stick that became a snake. Tell him this: the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, sent me to you. He told me to tell you to let his people go worship him in the desert. Until now, you have not listened to the Lord. So the Lord says that he'll do something to show you that he is the Lord. I'll hit the water of the Nile River with this walking stick in my hand, and the river will turn into blood. The fish in the river will die, and the river will begin to stink. Then the Egyptians will not be able to drink the water from the river. Verse 19, the Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron to hold his walking stick in his hand over the rivers, canals, lakes, and every place where they store water. When he does this, all the water turn into blood. All the water, even the water stored in wood and stone jars, are turned into blood. Pause. So basically, this is another miracle. We are about to, well, another miracle God is about to show Pharaoh that he is the Lord. Look, he's showing them so much mercy. Like, just let the people go at this point, because he's turning it up a notch. Well, he just showing he just playing with Pharaoh right now. He just showing them miracles like I am the Lord type stuff, but he ain't really just turned up on Pharaoh yet. So when he say turn all the water into blood, not only is the water in the river and the lakes turned into blood, but the water that they got stored up. So if you got a bottle of water up in your house, it's turned into blood. Every water is turned into blood. Like, it's not for people. The Egyptians can't drink it. Yeah, that would have been enough for me. But go out, Pharaoh. Verse 20. So Moses and Aaron did what the Lord commanded. Aaron raised the walking stick and hit the water in the Nile River. He did this in front of Pharaoh and his officials. So all the water in the river changed into blood. The fish in the river died, and the river began to stink. So the Egyptians could not drink water from the river. The blood was everywhere in Egypt. The magicians used their magic to do the same thing, so Pharaoh refused to listen to Moses and Aaron. This happened just as the Lord said. Pharaoh ignored what Moses and Aaron had done. He turned and went into his house. The Egyptians could not drink the water from the river, so they dug wells around the river for water to drink. 7 days passed after the Lord changed the Nile River. So it's been a full 7 days, and this river just been bloody. At this point, Pharaoh, get you some more people and let these people go, because I'm afraid it's not even worth it. Just turn these people loose at this point. But yeah, that's our study for today. We still catching up. We only in January 16th. The first 7 chapters in Exodus. But we gonna keep at it. We gonna keep at it. We doing good. All right, y'all. Bye.